I've heard of two brothers. One was extremely successful in life. He had a happy family, he had a nice job, his employers were satisfied, he was respected in society for being socially responsible, he had a good diet, he took care of his health, and he kept disease away. In other words, he seemed to have it all right in his life. And his elder brother, his life was in shambles. He used to repeatedly get drunk, and he was also known for taking barbiturates, and he was often sick. He would sometimes be beating up his wife and doing so many kinds of things, definitely socially unresponsible. The psychologists, they said, let's figure out how come these two brothers are so different. They went to the elder brother and said, why is your life in shambles? Why is your life such a mess? He said, my father was a drug addict. And he also used to take an overdose of alcohol, because of which he had cirrhosis of the liver, and he died in his middle age at the age of 45. I grew up in such a ruined home. Seeing this environment from my childhood, what else could I do? It was inevitable that I would follow the same path of ruin, and that is why I am what I am. So they said, all right, let's go to his younger brother. They asked the younger brother, how come you managed to get it all right in your life? All yeses, all successes. He said, what else could I do? I saw the misery that my father got. I saw how his wrong habits brought ruin to him and despair to the family. Having grown up in such an environment, what else could I do? How could I touch that evil fluid? I had to get it all right. Now think about it. In the same situation, one person is getting uninspired and the other is getting inspired. What then is the secret of inspiration? There are two kinds of motivation. One is external motivation, and the other is internal motivation. What is external motivation? You need something from the outside to motivate you. Your boss praised you. Look, he has given me a commendation. Now I am motivated. This is external motivation. And what is internal motivation? The source of your inspiration is internal. You bring the right thoughts, the right emotions, the right knowledge, and motivate yourself. Do you see the distinction? To be externally motivated, to be internally motivated. Externally motivated means the key of your energy level is in the hands of others. Because if your boss is the source of your motivation, then the boss will also become the source of your demotivation. Next time he scolds you and censures you, you'll say, my boss scolded me. I have no interest left. So to be externally motivated is immature. When we were little children, we were externally motivated. But as you grow up, you are expected to mature emotionally. To mature emotionally means that you develop your own inner fuel of inspiration. In other words, you shift focus to become internally motivated. If you are internally motivated, nothing will dampen your spirits. Just like some people, they need good weather to come into a good mood. And some people believe that they carry their weather themselves. It's irrespective. It doesn't matter. That is the internal motivation. We need to find out how to tap into that kind of inspirational energy. So how do you tap into it? One obvious answer is to get a strong reason to do something. If you have a strong reason, you will become inspired. One salesman, he went to Nevada in the countryside to sell something, and he rested at night in a wayside inn. Next morning when he got up, he found that the roads were all snow-laden. Everything was white. He asked the innkeeper, "I am a salesman and I sell my goods. Do you think the environment is good enough to go out and sell things?" The innkeeper said, "Sir, that depends on whether as a salesman you are working on salary or on commission. If you are working on salary, you are going to get it in any case, whether you go or you don't go. Then the weather is very difficult. You should not go. But if you are working on commission, you have a strong reason, a strong why to go and get your commission. You will find the weather is all right, you can go." So this big why, big reason, then becomes the source of inspiration. One long-distance runner from Kenya called Bernard Kiplagat, he was asked by reporters that how is it that Kenya produces so many amazing long-distance runners? So Kiplagat's answer was that, in Kenya, on the road, after every little while we have got boards. Beware of lions. That makes us run very fast. We have a big reason to run. If you can provide yourself with a big reason to do something, you will become inspired. So simple. Let me give you a third example. One king discovered his close servant in the palace was stealing. That hurt the king tremendously. I took care of him. I raised him and made him competent, gave him such an important place in my retinue of servants, and he was stealing. How shameless! The king was so annoyed. He wanted to sentence his servant to death. However, he decided to make a game out of it. Thought he'll get some fun while punishing his servant. So he said that I'm going to sentence you to death, but you have one chance of reprieve. We will have a duel. In the olden days, they used to have the duel. They'd put on the armor and fight with swords. If you can defeat me, I will forgive you and give you the freedom to live. And if not, you'll die at my hands. The king thought it would be a cakewalk because he had fought with swords all his life and engaged in many duels. He had been trained in the military sciences. This servant had no such exposure. All right, they dressed up, they lifted their swords, and the duel began. The king's minister was looking. On this very day, the servant was fighting with surprising zeal. Somehow he was finding out the ways to block the king's sword and jabbing with such astonishing speed and ingenuity that the king was getting surprised. The duel continued, and slowly, the king started losing and the servant started gaining the upper hand. Until the king realized that he was going to lose. So then he used his kingly power to say, "Stop! All right, I forgive you. You are a free man. Go. But don't come again in front of my eyes." Later on, the king asked the minister, "My dear minister, how come this servant, untrained and unexperienced in military warfare, gained the upper hand in front of me?" The minister said, "O king, I doubted it from the very beginning. You had no reason to fight. For you, it was a sport. That servant had a big why. He was fighting for his life. That's why he tapped into unknown potentials and energy sources within himself. That means that if you wish to motivate and fuel yourself in life, you have to give a big reason for this. What is the reason?